I review NBA Playgrounds 2. Also, a game you might have missed that you really should buy. In other news, Japan is running out of octopuses. And finally, my SJW sense is tingling. I throw acid in your eyes and ears by reading you a Teen Vogue article. I go by the name of Johnny Massacre, and you're witnessing the Johnny Massacre Show. As they say, sunlight is the best disinfectant. Sunlight is pouring through my very small window in my recording studio, and my recording studio is crumbling and melting around me. It is extremely messy in here. You cannot see, but just off camera, there is a plate encrusted with cheese and what is it? Some spicy stuff. And there's a peppermill, there's a French mustard bottle. There's literally a fucking banana skin on this desk. And there's all kinds of other shit just strewn all over the place, such as broccoli and stuff like that. But what you can see is still present and correct. So I'm a little bit tired today. My brain can't really get the words out quick enough, but we will jump straight into my review of NBA Playgrounds 2. Right, so this came out a few days ago, and I'm going to play you a little video so you can see what the hell I am talking about. Check this out. So you can see the exaggerated caricatures of all these NBA basketball players. Now, the reason I got this game is because my mate, Luke, who I play games with, kind of plays this game called NBA Jam with me. Have you heard of NBA Jam? It's a classic game from the arcades in the 90s that was on the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. And it's a very simple game where you pick an NBA player as a duo and you square off against two opponents. And it's very exaggerated. They've got big heads and you can do big slam dunks and stuff like that. And although it's pretty rudimentary by today's standards, whenever I go back to England, I just end up playing this NBA Jam game on emulator. So NBA Jam is not out on the Xbox games library nor the PlayStation. So this seemed to be the next best thing. But I've got to say, this game is a stinking pile of doo-doo stains. I mean, it's not the worst game in the world, but man, it is just buggy. It feels unfinished. And it just generally is very insipid. There's no standout flavor to this game whatsoever. I mean, look at it. How could you mess this shit up? You've got two players on each team. You've got to score in the net. It's basketball, which is a very famous sports game. As long as you get the mechanics down, it's going to be enjoyable. Anyone can enjoy a game of basketball, but no, you can't really with this game. So what makes this so lame? So firstly, this is microtransaction-tastic. As soon as you boot up the game, it's already trying to sell you these packs and shit like that. So that's kind of annoying. But then, you know, with Fortnite generating, I think, $1 billion a month or whatever it is, this is the new style of gaming. You brought it upon yourselves, people. So there's two types of microtransactions. One of them is purely cosmetic, and that's the shit you spend money on. And, well, there's two types of kind of packs or loot boxes you can open. And the latter, which actually gives you players, and you can get better players than the ones you start out with, are achieved through going through the game. I wouldn't be surprised if actually purchasing the loot boxes for cosmetics actually helps you in some way to get the loot boxes for progressing through the game. But then if they did that, there would probably be some outcry. So I think this seems to be the new model, right? After EA's scandal with Battlefield and all that crap, I think now what they do is they have these two types of loot boxes. One of them is just cosmetic, and those are the ones you pay for. And the ones that actually advance you through the game, you have to get through via playing through the game itself. And that's here. And it's kind of funny. Me and my friend make a joke because it's addictive, right? And it's always in the news, loot boxes, and about how some countries are banning it and it's a form of gambling. So we're always saying things like, oh my God, I've nearly got enough points for my loot box. Shit, that shiny wrapping. Because it comes in a digital illustration of a foil wrapping containing cards, right? Oh, I can nearly afford it. I need that hit. Mom, can I borrow your credit card? That's what this game is all about, really. And then how can you fuck up such a simple concept? So, right, rambling. Let me explain why this game is kind of shit. So, just the flow of the game feels poor. It should be a little bit aggressive. You should be able to feel some weight behind the pushes and the elbowing and stuff like that, but it just feels like you're floating around the pitch, and the collision detection is very lackluster. You see, like, there's players right in front of him, but he's just going along on invisible roller skates. There doesn't seem to be any resistance or feedback from your opponents, and generally the hit detection and the interactions between opposing teams physically just feels a little off. They could have calibrated that way better. And there aren't really that many moves. I found myself playing NBA Jam. When I play NBA Jam, the game that inspired this, although there's not many moves, the actual mechanics of the gameplay are good enough for you to be creative and work out strategies and stuff. But in this, because the mechanics are poor, it doesn't matter how many moves that they make available to you. It all just feels it's built upon this very shoddy foundation. And so, yeah, the mechanics really let the game down. And some of the moves are just obsolete. So there's a push function, and the push function is supposed to be really good because when you use it, your stamina goes down. You see at the bottom of the circle underneath the player that's being controlled, you can see your stamina bar. See on I think it's Michael Jordan or someone. See that little yellow bar? Well, when you push someone, it depletes the entire bar, which suggests that push is supposed to be this overpowered move. But whenever you use push, it doesn't fucking work. And you just saw a steal there. So stealing takes a fraction of your stamina, but it's about 100 times more effective. So, I mean, that's just fucking unforgivable, right? You've got this supposed power move that's supposed to be affect the gameplay and your strategy, but it doesn't even fucking work. And then one of the really annoying things is, okay, you see a steal there. Every time you steal it, the computer just homes in on the fucking ball. As soon as you steal it, they're onto it. And the way the computer reacts is, of course, faster than a human reaction. So you have to kind of anticipate where the ball's going to go. But because the mechanics of the game are shit, you don't know where the ball's going to go. And so therefore, the steal function is a little bit broken. Of course, they can't make it that easy, but it's okay, there was a successful steal. But more often than not, I'd say 75% of the time, every time you try to steal the ball and you whack it out of their hands, the computer retrieves it way too quickly, which sucks. And yeah, there's alley-oops and stuff like that, but it all just feels rather manufactured. And the actual dunk animations aren't that satisfying. In the original NBA Jam, when you do a dunk, it is satisfying. It's really over the top, and the sound effects are really good. So rating that game as and when it came out, the dunking was a real star feature of it. With hindsight, it might not be as good, but it's still better than this game. In this, I mean, look, we've got PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One X, and so since this is so inspired by NBA Jam, the dunks should be mind-bending. The camera should kind of follow them into the air and twist around a bit like the special moves in Street Fighter 4 and 5. And it should have a real sense of impact. But look, that's really dull. That just looks fucking dull. Also, look at the backgrounds. I mean, fuck me, the character models are just appalling. It looks like a Dreamcast game. For the young viewers out there, the Dreamcast came out fucking ages ago, around 1999. So, honestly, the character models look like a 20-year-old game. Look at them, and the animations are quite limited. They always do the same stuff, and some of them repeat the same animation in synchronization, which is just unforgivable. So with a game this basic, they should knock it out of the fucking park with the graphics, absolutely smash it, and they haven't. And so there's a leveling system where you open these digital kind of packs that contain cards, and you get the new players, and then you level them up. But it's not fun leveling them up. Every time you get a new great player, for example, Michael Jordan, they aren't amazing straight out the pack. You have to level them up, and it feels like a chore. It feels like you can't be asked. You just wish you'd get the player, and they're amazing. You got LeBron James there. I actually got him pretty much straight away. And there's some other YouTube video where the guy said, I got LeBron, and he got 30,000 views, and the video's only a day old. So hey, I got LeBron too, and I couldn't give a fuck because I don't really watch the NBA, but I do like it when I see it, and I like American sports games and stuff. But I got LeBron James, didn't really give a fuck. He's pretty good. My mate got Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan's stats were pretty terrible. So also the graphical style is so fucking ugly. It looks like those weird political cartoons. You see the modes here, so this guy's playing in another language other than English, but very underwhelming. There's two main modes really, but I can't even be asked to go into it because who cares? The gameplay is pretty poor. And this costs about £25, so I'm guessing if you're lucky it's dollar for dollar, $25, maybe $30 in the US. And oh man, I'll probably play it again just because I love the game that inspired it. But if you never played the original NBA Jam, you're either gonna enjoy this a little bit more because you're not comparing it to a classic, or you might fucking hate it because at least my nostalgia's getting me through. So be interested to know if anyone else actually played this game. But NBA Playgrounds 2, honestly, I would avoid it. I really would. It's no good. It's no good. It's no good. So another game you might have missed out on that you really should buy is Rainbow Six. I think it's called Siege. I better check that because if that's wrong, that's going to fucking blow a hole. Yeah, it is in the Johnny Massacre Show. Rainbow Six Siege. So this is a couple of years old, and one of my Japanese friends plays this game, and he recommended that I get it. And I remember playing this over time. The Rainbow Six games always seemed quite serious, kind of for hardcore gamers, and I was a hardcore gamer, so I got it, and I didn't think I was going to like it. Very simple premise. There's a base, like a house or something, and there are two teams. I think it's of 5. So the defending team has to take up a good position and kind of, I think you can trap the house and put barbed wire around it and shit. And the attacking team, while they're setting up the house, you've got this remote control car, and I believe they use these things in wars and in demolitions and stuff to go and explore places that are dangerous and hazardous for humans. So you have this remote control car, and you go into the complex and you try to find where the bombs are. There's some bombs and shit, and I don't know where things are. And then you go in there, and I played it. The first time I played it, the controls just felt perfect, fucking perfect. And this is after playing, I think it's called H1Z1, which is the first ever Battle Royale game. And in that game, by contrast, when you shoot, your reticule goes huge, and it's so glitchy, and the frame rate drops, and you feel, I don't want to make excuses, but you feel that in order to shoot someone in that game, you have to play it endlessly, and it doesn't feel fun because it's not intuitive. You feel you have to find the flaws of the game and kind of exploit them to your advantage rather than just be good. And that was confirmed because as soon as I played Rainbow Six, I took to the controls like a duck to water. They're very intuitive. The weighting is just right. And all the controls are exactly where you think they would be. There's different classes. There's a guy with a riot shield. I'm going to bring up the game so you can see some footage while I'm chatting about it. Have a look at this. This is just a kind of montage of random activities happening. So, and then I think I did a few practice rounds, and then I actually played the game proper, and it was really fun. It's terrifying. I swear, the most terrifying games are the games kind of based on real life. They're more terrifying than horror. What happened? Because horror, you kind of know it's not real, but this is kind of real, right? People do storm complexes to kill criminals and stuff, and there are criminals in real life, and so when they suddenly appear like there in your face, it's terrifying. A human is coming to get you, so it actually can make you jump, which is a sign of a good game. It's very intense and immersive and engrossing. And on my first game, I think I killed 2 people, so it feels like as long as you can play an FPS, a first-person shooter, and you have experience, you will be able to contribute right off the bat. In contrast to games like the one I just mentioned, H1Z1, where if you haven't played it before, you're going to get raped as soon as you go into the game world. So it's very intuitive, this game, and the concept is kind of simple. You just have to find the team and take them out. And I was very impressed. The graphics aren't amazing. It's 2 years old. There are games that are 2 years old where the graphics are amazing, but this is all about the gameplay, and you've got a Japanese room, which you can see here. So stylistically, it's pretty nice, and I just like the grittiness of it and the way it's kind of based on something real world. And yeah, very simple, a kind of attack and defend game, but really, really nice. So I highly recommend Rainbow Six Siege. I haven't even got into it yet. You can see the grappling hook there. That's really nice, and you can change your position on the grappling hook and get interesting angles and stuff. So yeah, Rainbow Six Siege, I would highly recommend that. I'm looking forward to playing that online with my Japanese mate, my Japanese friends. So this could be sucking up a lot of my time. However, I will continue to deliver the Johnny Massacre Show. Worry not. Now, Japan is running out of octopuses. So Japan love to rape the seas. They just have these big nets. They're just fucking taking everything out of the ocean. It does taste good, but I do feel a little bit sorry for the fishy wishies. So takoyaki is a very famous Japanese dessert. It's basically a dumpling. It's a savoury dumpling with a piece of octopus in the middle. Chop it up, put it in the dough, and they cook it on this machine, which is a hot plate with loads of half circles, perfectly hewn half circles. And then they put the batter inside with the octopus piece, and it forms this half circle. And then as the batter starts solidifying, they get a chopstick and they spin it around, and it becomes a ball. So these are basically octopus balls. And they put Japanese mayonnaise over it, which tastes very different to Western mayonnaise. It's sweet, it's delicious, and they put this Japanese sweet sauce. They also put this green kind of herb to add a bit of texture, and dried katsuobushi. Katsuobushi is skipjack tuna, so they put these dried fish flakes on it, and it's an iconic dessert that comes from Osaka, which is one of the most popular tourist destinations outside of Tokyo. Probably the most, or definitely top 5, maybe top 3. And so because octopuses are... there's a shortage of octopi in Japan, however you pronounce it. Apparently the takoyaki, this iconic dessert, is under threat. So Japan Today says as much, and they say that there are reports that the catch of Akashi dako species of octopus, so named because it is harvested off the coast of the fishing port of Akashi in Hyogo Prefecture, has fallen sharply this year. And the fishermen are saying that they're not worried about it right now, but they're worried about the future. So, I mean, man, if you just think about the amount of tourists and amount of people who consume this stuff, it can't be sustainable. We can't just keep pulling shit out of the ocean. If you hunt it and catch it yourself, then fine. But I'm just amazed that more animals haven't become extinct yet, especially ones that you don't farm, like octopus. So stop eating all the octopus, my Japanese brothers and sisters. Stop it. So finally, I'm really loath to go here because this show is quite nice and politics free, but let's make this a challenge. Let's see how far we can get into this article without just quitting it. So Teen Vogue is the new kind of public enemy in the world of SJ Dub. SJ Dub, all you. SJ Dub, rubber dub in the tub. Those annoying people who try to police the world and tell them what they can and can't do and what they should and shouldn't watch and what's offensive and politically correct and all that kind of stuff. So Teen Vogue seems to be the main perpetrator of just the worst kind of SJW stuff. And honestly, this is the worst SJW thing I've read this year by a long shot. But it reads like a satire. It's almost hard to believe that it's true. And the fact that it is actually real is very disturbing. So in other episodes, I will use the metaphor of throwing acid into your eyes. I should say ears, but that's a bit weird. How do you throw acid into your ears? When I expose people to SJW stuff. But I feel it's an important thing to do because we can't leave this movement to go unchecked. If they do, they will ruin everything and everything's going to be censored and we're going to live in some socialist hellhole. And yeah, but today I don't think that metaphor is appropriate. This is far worse than having acid thrown into your eyes. This is like being burned by raging poisonous fire. So I'm going to burn you with raging poisonous fire in the form of a Teen Vogue article. Now, Teen Vogue recently ran an article basically saying capitalism isn't a good idea. And if you want to see someone debunk Teen Vogue about capitalism, let's just quickly hop over to my man, Ben Shapiro, where he destroys Teen Vogue on what capitalism is. So let's have a little bit of Ben Shapiro, shall we? Here we go.
From Kim Kelly over at Teen Vogue. Now, this is an older piece. It's from April of this year, but Teen Vogue tweeted it out again yesterday. It should be noted, Teen Vogue is supported by ad dollars, and they make all of their money by running stories about the latest products that you can buy. They ran a piece called What Capitalism Is and How It Affects People, and the tweet from Teen Vogue was, why capitalism needs to end.
So Ben Shapiro is the man when it comes to dismantling ridiculous politics, especially leftist politics, but he will dismantle right politics as well, and he does admit he's a conservative with a bias. But so there you go. Teen Vogue is saying socialism is cool and fuck capitalism, when the only reason Teen Vogue exists is because of capitalism, because they have advertisers that advertise their products, and capitalism allows people to make any product they want, and if it's a good product, then you're allowed to buy it. You're allowed to buy cool stuff. People can make cool stuff. People can buy cool stuff. And the market's ever changing, and it empowers the people and makes the free Western civilization we have today, in contrast to communism and socialism and all that stuff, which is basically controlled by the elite, and all the normal people like you and I, are we normal? Get fucked over. So anyways, yeah, Ben Shapiro, you can imagine what comes next. He absolutely slaughters them. So now let's go over to this article that I was talking about. I'm now going to hit you with the raging poisonous fire. Let me bring up the link. Oh, actually, this link here is about what is a K-hole, which is if you take a horse tranquilizer drug, what happens when you go into that state of mind. So actually, I might be off the hook here. I might spare you a week. I might delay your death by another week while I dig out this article. Actually, do you know what? I am. Fuck it. Anyone who's looking forward to me going on an SJW rant, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but let's stay politics free. It's fucking Monday and I cannot be asked. It's time to talk about my life instead. So there's a very obvious thing to talk about for this Johnny Massacre Show's edition of my life, and that is I finally got a rack. So there you can see, the camera's all a bit fucked, but you can see a rack. I put my MacBook on top of that. That's not going to last there for that long, but it's just there as a placeholder. And fuck me, you know what? I didn't put the ventilation on, so it's if you put your MacBook on top of a kind of hot piece of hardware, then it will start to slow down and fuck up. So the Johnny Massacre Show is kind of in jeopardy. Today I'm using this TG1 on my voice, which the Beatles would have used, as opposed to the Manly Slam. So maybe this is actually not getting that hot, although I think it will, regardless of whether you use your voice or not. But look, I got a rack, so that's pretty good. But it's kind of a dilemma about this shit. So I basically need a big ass rack. That's 18 spaces, and that's easily going to get filled. I think I need about, God, this focus is awful. I think I need about 28 spaces. So I'm trying to work out how the fuck I'm going to fit all this gear in my recording studio, but that's a good problem to have. I'd rather have all this fucking gear and worry about how I'm going to arrange it than not having it at all. So I'm really pleased with my rack. I'm organising my studio well, and that's that as far as the studio stuff goes. It's Halloween week. Fucking hell, Halloween. I mean, I don't drink anymore because I'm just serious about music, and I'd like to indulge in intellectual pursuits like playing shite, such as NBA Playgrounds 2. However, that means because I'm a music man, I'm going to go out and perform and stuff, but that's cool. So I've got an event on Saturday, and it's going to be a Halloween event, and I'm going to be DJing, so that should be cool. But I get pissed off because I've got to wear those shoes, and they're kind of fucking expensive from the movie Back to the Future. That's usually my costume, and I don't want my shoes to get fucked up, but people tread all over them. So yeah, you can tell I'm not too keen on Halloween. It's just it's too crowded in Japan on Halloween. 10 years ago, no one gave a fuck, and now there's been a Halloween boom, and it's fucking everywhere, man. And one year I went, it wasn't policed or organized properly, and like some poor girl nearly got crushed to death. I had to save her life and pick her up when she was being trampled. So fuck all that. But Halloween is coming. Although Halloween does inspire me, I like to put a ghostly vibe in my music because I was very much influenced by the Halloween influenced magnum opus that is Thriller by Michael Jackson, and specifically the music video. So there's a special vibe about making music that's a bit ghostly and spooky, and I do like that. So at the end of the show, we have to decide whether I end on a positive note or a negative note, whether I join the light side or the dark side. And I'm going to join the light side. I did some kickboxing yesterday, did 12 rounds, so I'm feeling very pumped up, and I've eaten a lot of food to compensate. So if you eat a lot of food, you got to do a lot of exercise. I'm going to head back to the gym today, kill myself with some weights, and I will be ripped like Arnold tomorrow. So I hope you enjoyed this show and my take on NBA Playgrounds 2, as well as my recommendation for Rainbow Six Siege. And I hope you are concerned about the lack of octopi in Japan. And finally, SJW, no, fuck that shit today. Let's keep it positive. I'll save that for tomorrow. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, what all those other twats say. And yeah, hit me up on patreon.com/Johnny Massacre. If you support me on there, we'll get more and more and more content, music, and shows like this. And follow me on my socials, twitter.com/Johnny Massacre. Hit me up. I will see you people tomorrow.